Alright, here we are, page 2 of your chapter 4 notes. So yours should look like this here. Alright, we're going to talk about posting from a general ledger, from a journal to a general ledger. Okay, so just to review real quick, here are your notes for page 1. What you learned how to do was to set up, taking your chart of accounts, how to set up your general ledgers, okay, how to set these up. And you should have done that already. You're going to use them right now, so make sure that you have it done. But real quick, let's go back also and talk about, so here's our journal that we learned how to do in chapter 3. And this put everything in chronological order. It organized it somewhat, but now we're going to organize it even more by taking each account and putting transactions. We're going to set up an account for each we'll set up a general ledger for each account. So every time, for example, something affects supplies, it's just going to have its own supplies account, so we can see how many times supplies was used, how much was spent within that one account. So it organizes it even more. And you guys already set those up. So you guys already set those general ledgers up on page 1. Alright, so let's take a look real quick. Alright, before we even get started. Alright, here we are, your notes for page 2. All I want, first of all, I'm going to explain how it all works. But before we do anything, here's what you have to do. So you need your steps to post to a general ledger. That's a general debit. Steps to post a second amount to an account. 5 steps for that as well. And steps to post to a general ledger, this time a general credit. Now in your book, in your packet, you're going to take out your chapter 4 packet, and you are going to turn to page, see if I can get it here. No. Oh, sorry, here we are. Okay, you're going to turn to page 96. And it says, posting an amount from a general debit column. And it has 5 steps on what to do right here. Okay, so you are going to go to your notes, post steps to post a general ledger, specifically a general debit. Turn to page 96 and copy these 5 steps into your notes. Okay, the next thing you need to do, steps to post a second amount to an account. 5 steps for that as well. You're going to go to the next page, page 97, posting a second amount to an account. There are 5 steps for that as well. You're going to open up your packet and you're going to copy those into your notes also. It's funny, these packets, we actually use them. There's a lot of answers in there. So that's what you're going to do for page 97 for the second amount to an account. And then down here in the third one, steps to post to a general ledger, specifically general credit. You're going to go to page 98. Here are your 5 steps for that as well. Okay, so you're going to take the 5 steps, put them on here. Alright, so let's see, it was page 96, 97, and 98. Have the 5 steps for each one. Open your packet, copy them down. Now I'm going to explain to you how this works. Because down here at the bottom, we're going to have to take this journal. Now I've cut the journal off a little bit, so it's only the general amount columns. So you're going to take the journal here, and you're going to take every transaction that you see on here, and you're going to go take this amount, and you are going to go back here, and you are going to take the information and post them into these general ledgers that you set up on page 1. Okay, so once again, if that was confusing, alright, I'm going to explain to you how to do this. You have the steps written above, but I'm going to explain it to you how it works. And you're going to look at each transaction. So November 1st, you're going to look at the first one here. You're going to take these amounts, you're going to go back to page 1, and you're going to post it into the correct general ledger and where it's supposed to be at as well. Okay, so let's take a look real fast. Okay, so let's take a look. Here's how it works. You have your journal that you see here. Now, what you see on my journal is an example. It's not the same exact as what you have on yours. Okay, it's an example. All right, so here's what we got. You have your posting general amount columns. Okay, so just the general, the ones in the red square right there. Okay, and you have the account titles, and you have your general debit and credit. Now you have a general ledger, and it looks like this. Okay, you have your general ledger. You already set these up. So the example that we're going to use right here is the transaction that took place on August 2nd. Okay, August 2nd. The supplies for $500 in the general debit. Okay, so you're going to find your supplies account. So you should have, you're going to find the same account. So for the example, we'll find the supplies. You find the general ledger with that account. Now it has, you should have set up your account number as well using your chart of accounts. Alright, so here we go, August 2nd, that transaction right there. Alright, it was a general debit. Okay, you'll notice it was $500 under general debit. Okay, you'll see right down here, we have a debit amount down here as well. Okay, so we have general debit on the journal and we have a debit amount on the general ledger. Alright, now you take the date and you write down the same date. Okay, you write it in the date area for the general ledger. You take the page number, okay, you take the page number and you transfer it down to the post reference. So this is page 1. We transferred it down to post reference. Okay, and we took that $500 that was already in general debit on the journal and we transferred it down to a debit amount as well in our supplies general ledger. Okay. Yeah, so it should, for the example, it would look something like this. Now what we do next is we do our account balance. So we balance out how much we have in that general ledger right now. So for the example, we have $500 and that's the only transaction. So we only have $500. So we just transfer that $500 debit amount over to the balance part of the general ledger, okay, to the balance part. Alright, so when you're done, it would look something similar like that. Now here's what we do next. You take that 120 and you go back to your journal and you write it down in there. Okay, you write it down on there because it shows us that has been posted to the account number 120 general ledger. Okay, so that's one. Now what if we have a second amount column? Okay, so here's our same information. We'd already posted this first one that took place on August 2nd. Alright, it was $500. Now what if we have another one? Okay, oh, look, on August 23rd, we had another transaction for $100 for supplies. Alright, just like before, we transfer the date down, August 23rd. Use the page number to put the post reference on the general ledger. And now you transfer that $100 because it's a debit on your journal. You transfer it down to the debit side of your general ledger on supplies because it's a supplies account. Now here's the thing, okay? Now we have to do our account balance. Alright, so we had $500 in there before, and now we added another debit amount of $100. So you're going to take that, you're going to add them together, and your new balance is $600. We have a $600 balance in supplies. We take that 120 again and we transfer it over back to our journal in our post reference showing that we have transferred that information over. Alright, so let's look at posting general amount columns. Okay, you'll notice on the screen here in our journal area the post reference is done 100%, meaning that we have posted every single one of them. Okay, anywhere there's a check mark, we don't do anything to that line. We don't do anything at all to that line. Just the ones that have have blanks in the post reference. But once we're done, we should have a number in every single column, every single box on that post reference column. Okay, so everything's been posted. Now here's what we have to do. Okay, there's that red box right there. Everything's filled in. We have a number that's been posted to a general ledger account. The check marks mean that we didn't do anything for that line. You don't do anything on that line. The sales ones you don't. Alright, so we finished it. We're done with all the general. So to show that we are done with our general debit and credit, we go back and underneath the totals, you put check marks in parentheses. Okay, check marks in parentheses underneath the amounts at the bottom. Okay, now here's what I want you to do. If you have questions, please ask me. Okay, if you have questions, please ask. So here's what we're going to do. I just showed you how to do the general amount columns, the debit and the credit. And I took out sales and cash for you here. I took them off so you don't have to worry about them. And you also put up here at the top, you put down the steps for each one. So hopefully those will help as well. I want you to take each transaction here, okay, each line. Now don't forget sales, you don't have to do anything. Okay, we'll do something later of those. Okay, you're going to take each one of these here, okay, and you're going to take them back and you're going to post them to the general ledgers that you set up on page 1 of your notes. So then you're going to come back here and make sure you fill in these post references showing that you did complete them, and when you're done, make sure you do what you're supposed to do underneath these columns here. Alright, so when you're done with page 2, you should have the steps to all 3 of these up top, and this should be entirely posted to the general ledgers on page 1. Alright, good luck.